Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rotoworld Football Show, Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Somehow already 3 weeks into the new year. I'm Patrick Daugherty, joined, as always, by Denny Carter. Big football games last weekend, big football games this weekend. Not really what we're going to be talking about today, though. It's because the most active coaching cycle in recent memory is humming along without cease. Denny, hopefully that makes sense. 10 openings. I believe 4 of them have now been filled. Of course, it was only 9 openings the last time we joined you. Buffalo has made Sean McDermott the 10th. We're getting near 33% of the entire NFL head coaching workforce relieved of its duties. We'll lead with McDermott. We'll talk about, did this had to happen? Who do we like to see there? What do we think of Brandon Beane, who a lot of the fans seem to be blaming instead of Sean McDermott? So we'll start with the Bills. Then we'll get to the hirings in Atlanta, Atlanta, Tennessee, another team,
Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins.
There you go.
So we'll talk about the new hirings, some new offensive coordinator hirings. Drew Petzing in Detroit. I've seen a lot of fantasy managers losing it over this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about whether or not that's actually an appropriate reaction or not. If all you care about is fantasy points, it could be the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Yes.
Kansas City. So Kansas City was working really hard on replacing Matt Nagy because they thought he was leaving for a head coaching job. I think Matt Nagy thought he was leaving for the Titans head coaching job. It's been filled by Robert Saleh. His old job has reportedly been filled by Eric Bieniemy. What's old is new again in Kansas City. Bieniemy was never anyone's idea of a great elite offensive coordinator. I think I'm a lot better than Matt Nagy.
I think so.
Pretty concerning that Andy Reid just keeps recycling guys instead of going outside his own coaching tree. We'll talk about how that's probably an upgrade. We'll take a few more looks at the cycle if we have time. Who's our favorite first-time candidate? A lot of retreads so far. And Mike McCarthy talking to the Steelers, things of that nature, Denny. But I want to start talking about a different coach, someone who would be my top candidate in the cycle if he had any interest in coming to the NFL. Of course, Indiana's Curt Cignetti. The Hoosiers, I'm first off tired of Indiana dominating college football. This is exhausting. Our whole lives, Indiana football. Please, take a chill pill.
I just hope my children can know a day where Indiana's not winning national title after national title.
Yeah, so extremely surreal. One of the most surreal sports occurrences of my entire life. The Indiana Hoosiers winning the national title. The players, of course, are the ones most responsible for this, but not most. Curt Cignetti is why this happened, Denny. And people watch sports and they fall into this trap all the time. This Nick Saban guy, I feel like he should be president. It's I really, really like this Nick Saban, and I think he could be successful in anything. It's a classic trap when you watch these guys, but I watch Curt Cignetti. I listen to Curt Cignetti, Denny. I'm wow, I wish this guy were my senator, or I wish this guy were the president of my local bank.
Really?
And, I really feel like he's an entirely different breed. And this is just basically a Curt Cignetti appreciation post, what I wanted to begin the show with. And I feel like he could do anything he puts his mind to, didn't he? Again, it's a classic. A lot of times you drop, all right, let's make the football coach senator. I don't know how to read.
Whoops.
You could have admitted during the race you didn't know how to read.
Yeah, right.
That would have been nice, coach.
Right.
I'm so sorry. It was too embarrassing. All right. They actually tried. The Tom Osborne ran for governor in Nebraska after he was a congressman. Didn't go well. A lot of times people's appetite for this isn't as big as they think. But I just see Curt Cignetti, and I wish he had a position of greater importance than football coach, I'll say.
Does the constant misery bother you at all?
First off, he's not as miserable as some of these guys. Cignetti will actually laugh a little bit. I think he's even kind of said the face is a bit of a put on during the games. Unlike Nick Saban, I've seen Curt Cignetti make a joke.
Okay.
He does the terrifying Hoosier thing where he's wow, I didn't know he had that gear in him.
That is scary.
It's very scary. It's a little off-putting.
Unlike Nick Saban, this is not a joke. It's not a bit. It's actually been reported. I'm sure Curt Cignetti doesn't make players call him daddy. No. Like so many players have called Nick Saban. So thank God for that. Cignetti last night, though, he was mad at the end of the game.
No, he wasn't. Don't try to Sabanize my Sig.
Wait a sec. Wait, let me tell you. And he actually kind of had a reason, but it was weird to watch. Okay, so the interception happened in the red zone. The cornerback is losing his mind, doesn't know what to do. He runs 12 yards backwards. He takes a knee in a way that looks like he tears his ACL. I mean, really one of the weirdest taking a knee situations ever. He rips off his helmet. He starts running around. They get a personal foul penalty. They have the ball at the 2. So then Mendoza has to take the knee at the 1, and then they're at the goal line for the final snap. Now, Cignetti was losing it.
He should have been mad about that. I actually agree with Sig's rage on that one.
I agree, but I've never seen a coach not just on the verge of a national championship, but on the verge of the most unlikely national championship of our lifetimes. And this guy is just furious.
It could have ruined the game. I mean, I was frankly surprised they tried to kneel. I thought they should have done a surge forward QB sneak is what I would have done.
So I actually thought that it would have been excusable for Mendoza to run out,
take the safety. Yeah.
I mean, just to make sure that you don't fumble for a touchdown. I mean, that was in play, you know. Anyway, Cignetti, like the whole like grimace, like I'm always unhappy thing, it kind of bothers me.
I've bought it hook, line, and sinker, basically. And,
well, you should start campaigning for him then.
Yeah. So I just, man, like this guy is impressive, and I'm sure this is, you know, first off, don't come back and find this clip 18 months later when there's an athletic expose like he's the biggest tyrant who ever lived, like he hit the players, he's mean to the players. Right. Don't come back and get mad at me then, because I didn't know that at the time. All right.
If Mr. Cignetti's listening, do not become Jets head coach.
No. He's already insisted he's never going to the NFL.
He will go, but you just don't go to the Jets.
He's 64. Did you know that?
I mean, another year like this, you think he's not? I mean,
I will say, if he has another year like this, he will like need to go to the NFL, because no one will have ever had less left to prove.
Right.
And he will basically need to go to the NFL.
I mean, you just cannot go to the Jets, whatever happens.
He frankly already needs to go to the NFL. Like truly, like, all right, yeah, we get it. You won the national title with Indiana. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing left for you to accomplish in college football.
He seems like a really good CEO.
He does, exactly. And I want him to lead more things than just the Hoosiers football team. The Bills did not want Sean McDermott to lead their football team anymore, didn't he? 9 seasons, 7 playoff appearances. Only the 4th team in NFL history to win at least one playoff game 6 years in a row. But this is the reason he was fired. They were the only one of those 4 teams not to win a Super Bowl, let alone they didn't even make a Super Bowl. My spiel, as you've known, I think frankly for 2 or 3 years was that he's not the finishing piece of the puzzle. This is a team that's making the playoffs every year regardless. He's a really good coach, but margins are so thin. I haven't seen any evidence that Sean McDermott is the one putting this team over the top. Maybe we'll litigate Brandon Beane in just a minute, the GM who got a promotion somehow. Yeah. This always tends to happen in these things, but I thought it was time for their John Fox moment, for their Dan Reeves moment. I can't remember how Dan Reeves left Denver, if he was fired or resigned or whatever, but like someone else needs to crack at being the final piece of the puzzle here. Do you agree with my assessment and the Bills' assessment that Sean McDermott, 9 great seasons, but it's time for someone else? How do you feel about it?
I hate it.
Man, what is wrong with you, man?
I know.
We might actually agree, at least on this one.
So, no, I didn't think I would, but I spent the morning really looking into it powerfully. And I came away with the sense that Sean McDermott was fired because the Bills had bad luck in the where it counts the most.
No, it's not. I got to spare me the bad. I've seen every person with a spreadsheet ever saying it's just bad luck. The first time, bad luck. Second time, bad luck. Third time, bad luck. 4th time, 5th, 6th time, also bad luck. Guess who makes better luck? Better coaches.
I don't think so.
You can't be unlucky 6 times.
What do you mean 6 times?
They've 6 cracks since 2020 with Josh Allen at the Super Bowl. This year, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar, not even in the playoffs. And they're not even in the AFC Championship game. Well, it transcends luck.
That's because the roster stinks.
So we're falling on anything but McDermott's fault here.
Yeah, no. This I think this was a potentially gigantic error on the part of the Bills to let him go.
Who cares? Josh Allen, truly their baseline, like their doomsday scenario is 10-7. Like their baseline for a normal year is 12-5, no matter who the coach is.
It's amazing that they got where they did this year with the roster they had. They have no pass rush. They have no receivers to speak of. They have a GM who consistently makes disastrous early round draft picks.
I got to push back to all this, by the way.
Who makes really bad trades and acquisitions. So just look back the recent history of this, right? So they bring in Amari Cooper as their wide receiver 1, right? He flames out to the point of like basically leaving the league, right? Joey Bosa, not so great. Von Miller, completely catastrophic signing. And that was a big signing, by the way. They paid Von Miller. Everything Brandon Beane has done, basically, except for draft Josh Allen, has not worked. And he got a pass. He won a power struggle, and we know how these things go. When there's a power struggle between the head coach and the GM, whoever wins gets to then reshape the franchise in their image. Now, Brandon Beane will get to do that. I have to say good luck to the Bills and their fans.
I will just say so many of the things being said about Brandon Beane, while a scan is valid on the surface, are the same things said about the Kansas City Chiefs. Particularly, how can they not get a weapon for Josh Allen? And I just find a lot of it to be more like unseen critiques of the salary cap system. In this system, in this draft system, the Chiefs and Bills are hamstrung by they have to pay someone a top 5 salary in the entire league. Every year, they're picking in the 26 to 32 range. That gives you very limited opportunity to add true blue chip players to the roster. It makes the one shot you do have extremely high stakes because, as we know, even the best franchises constantly bungle first-round picks. And I just think the Bills are along the same lines of the Chiefs. It's evidence of how hard it is to keep a roster in tip-top shape when you've got that salary, when you've got that low-end draft position every year. It's some of the very best do weather and survive it, like Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore did for years and years. Kevin Colbert in Pittsburgh did for years and years and years. But it's just so hard. Being needed to do better, of course.
Right.
But we're talking about such thin margins, though, that how many more opportunities did Sean McDermott deserve?
And so I think this is just a case of an organization valuing results over the process.
They gave him one more year like 3 times, because he had some truly playoff losses that were not bad luck. He had 1 or 2 that were his fault. Well, horrible, bungled end of game.
Second loss to Kansas City was the worst luck I've ever seen.
I mean, that's 1 of 6. 1 of 6.
Well, he got to the AFC title game twice. Basically, I mean, what this comes down to, if he had won one of those AFC title games, he gets that job forever, basically.
But he didn't, though.
Right. And so it comes down. So you're talking about everything, all the games he's coached over 9 years, all the things that he's done with this team. It really just came down.
And look what happens when you keep giving those guys 1 year after another. You get John Harbaugh, you get Mike Tomlin, where it's gotten so stale, like they can go 10-7 in their sleep, but they can't actually win anything.
Wait a second. I would not put Mike Tomlin in the group with Sean McDermott. McDermott's way better than Tomlin.
Tomlin's way, way better than McDermott.
Oh,
way
wow.
better. Way better.
Tomlin's a dinosaur, man.
No, Tomlin is. I've really come around on Tomlin is the most underrated coach in probably recent NFL history. Your baseline is 10-7 when you don't even have a quarterback.
Tomlin is not even like a modern day coach. Like
that's probably honestly a strength at this point.
Well, yeah, it's made the Steelers real great recently.
It's made them real great at making the playoffs with no quarterback talent.
Steelers have been a non-factor for almost Tomlin's entire time.
And now, why is that? And first of all, that's not true. Now, why is that? The past 5 or 6 years, we're all trying to find out why the Steelers have been a non-factor. Let's see, Mason Rudolph.
Because they're a badly run franchise. I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers. This is interesting.
Because they still want it to be 1978 because that's when they were good, and they can't force that into being. Sean McDermott was legit. He was top 3 in 4th down aggressiveness over his.
It's easy to be aggressive on 4th down when you have Josh Allen.
You say that, but they weren't even good on 4th down. That's the thing.
That's coaching. Then call better play.
I don't know if that falls on him because he wasn't calling offensive plays. Obviously, he's a defensive guy, but he was aggressive. I think he was doing the right things. he actually in this meeting. So we actually have a blurb on this. It was reported that there was a meeting between the owner of the Bills, Pegula.
I don't know.
Okay, so between that
Terry.
guy,
Call him Terry.
Yeah, Terry, my guy Terry, between Brandon Beane and between McDermott. And McDermott in the meeting said, we don't have a Super Bowl roster. And this was, per the reporting, the end of his time. Like, that was it.
That's called the Mike Schilt in St. Louis.
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
The Cardinals manager infamously did the same thing after we, quote unquote, had a great year, and then he got fired.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter in that circumstance that Sean McDermott was right. He's right. Okay, if you look at the pass catchers that they have given to Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid. I have a bunch of stuff, and I'm not going to go through it because it's too much. But Dalton Kincaid is really good. Khalil Shakir is a nobody. Keon Coleman is a 0.
This is the same thing with the Chiefs. Like the fact that it's not just the Bills, I think, speaks to just how difficult it is to build these rosters under these circumstances.
It is hard. It is hard. But Brandon Beane has a series of really bad decisions, and it should have been him out the door, and McDermott should have stayed.
It should have been both. I will say there's no reason to fire one and keep the other. 100% true. Where, as I say, someone else needs a shot at putting this game day roster over the top. Someone else needs a shot at putting this 53-man roster over the top. But two, when I hear McDermott whining about, here's what we don't have, dude, there's 32 teams. Guess how many perfect rosters there are? 0. Guess how many rosters you're ahead of just by the sheer virtue of having Josh Allen. Like, they were ready for their John Fox moment. And that's another thing. McDermott is a good coach. He cannot plausibly say, I didn't get enough opportunities to put this team over the top. He did, and he never did it. Like, he got 1 year after another, 3 or 4 different – he's been on the hot seat for like 3 or 4 years. They were patient. He cannot say, I just needed a 7th chance, man. Dude, don't get it. I just needed a 7th opportunity. But when he cannot credibly complain that he wasn't given a fair shot. He was.
So it was Super Bowl or bust.
He also deserves to be rehired, by the way, by a different team.
Yeah, it was Super Bowl or bust from McDermott the last few years, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. As it should have been.
That's not
as
fair.
It should have been. He's one of there's 2 or 3 teams any given year where it's Super Bowl or bust. When you have Josh Allen, you're one of the Super Bowl or bust teams. That's just, maybe that's not fair. That is reality.
Yeah, no, it is. And I get that, for owners, for NFL owners, this is their fantasy team. And so they can toy with it like that.
Are you really going to argue the Bills were impatient with Sean McDermott?
No, they were patient, but they should have remained patient, and they should have addressed the real problem, which is a GM who has yet to make a good decision outside of drafting Josh Allen.
Outside of drafting one of these very best players who no one else believed in. You actually can credibly say half the league did not believe in Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
I mean, I guess that is enough to keep your job for a long time. I mean, and I don't know how much that falls on Beane or on Brian Daboll, whoever helped Josh Allen get to, like NFL caliber passer after his rookie season. I don't know. But besides that, there's just not much going on. I will say the one thing Beane has done is built a pretty good offensive line and pretty good defensive line per the metrics.
Beane should be out too. I don't want to try to make it sound like I'm taking Brandon Beane's side over Sean McDermott. Like, it's very kind of like circular and self-defeating. We're going to change things, but we're not going to change them that much. Like, we're going to get rid of it. Like, if you have 2 or 3 seasons left of Josh Allen's prime is what I would probably guess. Unless he's John Elway 2.0, which is possible. I'm going to assume he's going to age more like Cam Newton, though, than John Elway. And I just feel like you've got 2 or 3 cracks left at this apple, and that they needed to shake it up now. They've got halfway there. They should have got it 100% of the way to the shakeup.
I mean, Josh Allen's going into his age 30 season, and so the time is short, I guess, to do this.
Unless he's Elway 2.0, then he could do some variation of this into his late 30s. And there's a chance he is Elway 2.0 in just terms of like a special athlete who just can keep it going both ways.
Also indestructible.
Truly, and boy, the Zoomers do not know how indestructible John Elway was. And so Beane, we wanted out just like McDermott. Whether or not you thought it was a good decision, he is gone. Who do you want to coach the Bills? And this was something I'd been thinking about all weekend. I was like, are we going to go Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen's entire careers where they don't have an offensive-minded head coach.
Yeah, right.
So this is an opportunity to bring in someone to actually mind meld with Josh Allen. Is that kind of what you're looking for? What kind of head coach do you want for the Bills?
I mean, there's talk of Brian Dable, maybe.
How would you
interviewing? And I actually don't think it's the worst option.
I really hate that I felt the same way because teams wanting Dable as an offensive coordinator is fine. There was another team that's talking about him as a head coach, and I was like, no, that will not work. The Bills, I hate to say like how easily tricked I am. I'm like, it seems like it might make sense.
I mean, look, the track record he has with Josh Allen is tremendous. I mean, they were lighting the league on fire for 2 years before, he was obviously doing that meant that he was promoted to head coach of the Giants, and the rest is history. But I mean, I think that that's not a bad option, but it has to be an offensive mind. I mean, there's no point. I think if you're going to do the defensive coach thing, then you might as well have just stuck with Sean McDermott, honestly. So,
well, yeah, that is my kind of view on it too.
Like, I mean, a creative mind, a guy who might lean toward the pass a little more, I think would be good.
Denny, this is classic. Say less, and I put on Mike McDaniels $4,000 sunglasses.
I know, but the only thing is, Mike McDaniel, if he was the head coach, he would have to head coach from the booth in Buffalo because he couldn't deal with the cold.
He's so cold.
So that has come to mind. Mike McDaniel in Buffalo. You're talking about like a really massively run heavy Bills offense over the past 2 seasons. Like getting away from that could be nice.
And one reason I think Brian Dable could work is I view this as Gary Kubiak in Denver. That's how I view this. Like you're basically making a hire for the next 2 to 3 years. You're not really worried about building a culture, blah, blah, blah. Like we want a Bills guy. No, you just want a guy who can maybe maximize this roster one of the next 3 years.
I agree.
And Brian Dable would be a man for that job. Brian Dable will not be the Buffalo Bills head coach in 7 seasons. Neither would Mike McDaniel. I think it's perfectly fine for the Bills to make a short-term hire here. Like who can get the most out of Josh Allen the next 2 to 3 years would be how I would look at this hire.
Absolutely.
And it's easier. Unfortunately, like we don't regard defensive coaches the same way as offensive coaches. It'd be easier to just keep replacing the DC than it would the OC too. You need, that's the Bills. They hired a good offensive coordinator once, and Brian Dable, and he got snatched up immediately.
Right.
They have to go. If they don't use this opportunity to go offensive minded, like it'll be an extraordinary missed opportunity.
They will. I for some reason I have confidence that they will.
I think Brian, it is going to be Dable, and I guess I'll pretend that's good.
I'm okay with pretending. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the guy made Daniel Jones watchable, made Jackson Dart watchable.
Mm-hmm.
Probably enough on the Bills. Atlanta Falcons, Denny. Kevin Stefanski. You guys told me never to use the word seductive again on the air.
Oh, please stop using that word.
Kevin Stefanski seduced by Arthur Blank making ribs into taking the Falcons job. Did you hear about this?
No.
They had a dinner. This is not a joke. Who's the GM? Didn't they hire a GM already? Oh, no, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, Art Blank, Kevin Stefanski had a dinner together at Arthur Blank's house. Apparently, Arthur Blank surprised them by making the ribs himself, the short ribs.
Wow, really?
And he agreed to take the job that night. This is not a joke. Kevin Stefanski.
Because...
Yeah, I mean, the ribs put it over the top.
Because the billionaire was making food?
He was so, like, by seeing a billionaire be humble is like, well, it'd be kind of rude not to take the job.
I mean, that's the process, I think.
That is the process. The result is Kevin Stefanski is the head coach of the Falcons. How much upside is truly here with Kevin Stefanski? Stefanski, it's so hard to divorce from the dysfunction of the Browns. I see a guy, though, who is an offensive-minded head coach. He's given up play calling duties back-to-back years. Is Stefanski just super overrated because he went 11-6 twice and 11-5 one of those years was before the 17-game season in a place where it's really hard to do that? Do we grade Browns coaches on such a curve that we think Kevin Stefanski is something he's not? Or do you think this is actually a great hire for the Falcons?
So your question, do we grade Browns coaches on a curve? Yes, and they're not the only team I think that deserves that sort of treatment. I think, and we'll talk about this, but like Robert Saleh, his time in New York, I think was way better than we remember it as, because, he actually did have some success winning 7 games back-to-back seasons. I think other coaches, it would have been like Aaron Glenn, barely able to put together an NFL viable roster week in and week out. Anyway, so yeah, you're grading on a curve for Stefanski. You're grading on an extra steep curve, I think, because of the number of, especially this past season, the number of rookies that were playing significant snaps. I think the Browns led the NFL in offensive rookie snaps this season. Wow. And he was totally hamstrung. This team was totally hamstrung by the Deshaun Watson contract, which is, by all accounts, the worst contract in the history of professional sports. So once that,
then you should Google Anthony Rendon, but we digress.
Major U.S. sports.
Yeah, major U.S. sports.
Who's Anthony Rendon?
Anthony Rendon. Just look it up after the show.
Okay. So, wait. I'm sorry. There
was no character concerns, so the Watson one's worse.
Okay.
But in terms of on-field output,
I mean, but I'm not talking about the fully guaranteed nature, the unprecedented.
Every baseball contract is fully guaranteed.
Yeah, good for them. Anyway, I think that pretty much sealed Stefanski's fate. He did what he could with.
I was the wonder, like, did Stefanski go to the ownership like, oh yeah, like they were probably like, if we gave you Deshaun Watson, could you? And I
don't know.
We have no evidence he wasn't like, hell yeah, So I've never gone along with this fully absolving Kevin Stefanski for the Browns' acquisition of Deshaun Watson. All right,
I'm absolving him completely. I think, we don't know, and I've never seen reporting on whether Stefanski was like banging the table for Deshaun Watson. I don't know, from a PR standpoint, from an on-field standpoint, I don't know how he felt. Now, I will say we all remember Stefanski's reaction in the draft war room when the Browns owner called down and said, "We're drafting Shedeur Sanders no matter what." And Stefanski's face said, "Oh man, like I have to deal with this now. I have to deal with this nonsense, this circus."
Stefanski, quote unquote, hit him with the Casper. Sorry if that's too hard to understand.
So it's I would think Stefanski was undermined in several aspects as the head coach, 2-time coach of the year.
That's because, like, seriously, if you're a Browns head coach and you have a winning record, they just give you coach of the year.
That's fair.
I just don't know what the evidence is that Stefanski is special. It used to be like, look what he did with Baker Mayfield. And it turns out other coaches could do that with Baker Mayfield. Like, look what he did with the remains of Joe Flacco. And then like several other coaches did that. Those were kind of like the 2 biggest things he had going. It turns out he wasn't even that special on those fronts. It's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a good feeling about Stefanski getting a clean slate in Atlanta.
Except for he doesn't at quarterback, like.
The
slate is quite dirty there with Kirk Cousins and injured Michael Penix. Cousins probably gone.
I don't know how things are going to work out there. If he has to just depend on Penix as the unquestioned starter, that might be a problem for him. I will say this about Stefanski. I saw an interview he did, not recently, but a while back, with our guy Kevin Clark. And in that interview, Kevin asked the great question, "What's your favorite Pearl Jam album?" And because Kevin Stefanski apparently is a big Pearl Jam fan.
I grew up a Ved head.
Me too. And Stefanski said, "No Code."
It is the weird. It's the weird one. That's actually a good sign for him.
He's a ball knower. He's a
ball knower.
He's a Pearl Jam knower. Oh my goodness, that blew me away. I was certain he was going to be like, "Well, 10's a classic." Yeah. No,
10 you get disqualified immediately.
Yeah, no, you got to cut off the interview. But he goes with No Code, the experimental one. Yeah. It blew me away. I was like, "Oh God, give me this guy on my team. I want this guy coaching my team forever."
This does change everything. I just don't know. I don't know what the upside Stefanski outcome is supposed to be. Like, just a slightly more competent Browns is kind of what. This isn't like a franchise changing hire to me. It's franchise changing in that, I guess, the baseline's a little higher. They're a little more respectable. I don't think this like changes Atlanta Falcons football as we know it, though. Or like Harbaugh, say what you will, could change Giants football as we know it. I think Tomlin would do that, despite what you think. The Sig, Curt Cignetti would do that. I don't think Stefanski does that, though.
Well, if nothing else, the Falcons got the most handsome coach in the game.
The beard.
That's important.
Be more immaculate challenge for the beard.
I'm not a big beard guy, as you know, but wow, that beard is amazing.
What's your favorite PJ album, by the way?
Oh man, I was afraid you were going to ask me that. It might be Binaural.
Mine was Binaural too, but I think that's just because it was the one that got me into them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's a good memory. It's like a core.
People were there from the beginning, like Binaural.
Yeah, right.
Get these guys out of here. And they also, it's not even how you pronounce it.
Right, binaural.
That's just how I've always said it.
I know what it looks. I can picture it in my mind. Also, Riot Act was one of my favorites.
Riot Act was real bad.
Really?
There's a few good songs.
That's tough.
I Am Mine is good. Bush Leaguer was a solid one on that one.
The millennials like that one.
Vitology versus both amazing. We're moving on.
God, yeah.
We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this. NBA Coast to Coast is back this week with 2 Western Conference showdowns. First, it's Spurs, Rockets, and Houston. Then watch Luka Doncic and the Lakers face off with the Nuggets. The action tips off at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on NBC and Peacock. Coast to Coast. Wemby playing right now. Hopefully, Nikola Jokic back really soon. I'm Robert Saleh, back in our lives very soon. He's the next man up in Tennessee. Not the hire I was expecting from them, Denny. I was expecting offensive-minded. It's better than the guy it seemed like it was going to be, Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
But, how is this supposed to help Cam Ward? How is it supposed to help Robert Saleh? I don't know why. My dream, despite saying I want offensive-minded head coaches for Lamar and Josh Allen, my dream was Robert Saleh ending up in Baltimore. He just seems like the Baltimore Ravens head coach to me.
That would have been good.
Everything about him screams Ravens. Mm-hmm. I really wanted him to be the Ravens head coach. I feel like he should have been a little more patient. I can understand, you don't want to be left without a chair. But I don't know why he was so eager to take this Titans job. I guess maybe he believes in Cam Ward. So how do you view the hire for Robert Saleh? How do you view it for Cam Ward? What are the odds of success here? He's going from one really dysfunctional franchise in the Jets with the 49ers stopover in between to one of the only teams that can rival them, the Titans. I don't see how there's a happy ending here. Despite I wanted Robert Saleh to get another chance. I don't see how this one works out well. What do you think?
I don't think it'll work out in the long term. 5 years. He signed for 5 years. I'd be pretty surprised if he got to, through all 5 of those years. But that's because of the dysfunction of this franchise. Now, if anybody can weather that, if anybody can establish some sort of culture, some sort of excitement for a team that's just really listless and has no character, has no defining features.
Yeah.
I do 100%. Think
it's like when Tennessee Titans. What do you even think?
What do you get? Their GM Carthorne, their former GM Carthon. I mean, he's still.
I don't think he's still the GM.
No, I think he was fired.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I hope you don't think he's still the GM. Mike Borgonzi.
Carthon.
Ran Carthon was
Carthon created one of the worst rosters you could possibly create.
He did.
The free agency signings were baffling for everybody, including fans, including analysts, including the team itself. The coaches say, I don't know what to do with these.
They were Caserio strong. I know, like Caserio, they didn't work.
So anyway, they're still recovering, I think, from that era. As far as Cam Ward goes, I think that what he showed in his rookie season was that he has a very wide range of outcomes. And I'm trying not to be exaggerative here, but I think those range of outcomes goes from, maybe being a backup on another team or perhaps out of the league within 5 or 6 years to being a nice top half NFL starter if he can harness the skill that he has to make exceptional plays. I mean, he made plays in his rookie year that you don't see very often. And he also was
good and bad.
He also was really bad overall, really, really bad by the metrics. I understand you can say, well, it was the offensive line, it was his pass catchers, it was this, it was that. To me, what I was expecting was something way, way different and way better. So I think Saleh's number one job as a defensive guy has to be bringing in an offensive guy, preferably like a young, innovative type who can say, Cam Ward is my project. I'm taking this guy into my wing. I'm going to make him work. Otherwise, this thing can't work long term. If Cam Ward fails, everything fails here.
It's just so tough because if you do get the said innovative OC, they're gone after 1 year. Yeah. My glass half full take from Robert Saleh and Cam Ward is that maybe Cam is one of these increasingly rare type of quarterbacks where he is the system. Like Cam Ward is going to do what Cam Ward does. Like one of those guys you can't legislate like the big play hunting out of his attack. And maybe all he really needed was experience. Like now he knows what he can and cannot do in the NFL. We could get a huge sophomore year leap from Cam Ward. And maybe Cam is just one of those guys where he's never going to like fit inside a system. His system is I'm going to go do insane stuff. Like catch up with me. Man. Maybe that is like, if you're going to look at a glass half full, because you could very easily look at it glass half empty. And the other glass half full thing, the more plausible one is, well, at least Robert Saleh is going to take care of his side of the ball, where it's no longer the young quarterback, the second-year quarterback has to do everything by himself. And because the Titans were such an unbelievable disaster in 2025, like truly did nothing well. And Robert Saleh at least settles his side of the ball, which if you're not going to be the quarterback's personal QB's coach as head coach, that's maybe the next best thing you can do. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how to throw a football, right? But I do know how to coach defense. I'll take care of that side. That's the glass half full view of this hire. And like, yeah, they're going to have a culture at least now. We know Robert Saleh will establish a culture, but it just seems like a misfit for everyone's skills.
I mean, Saleh, he's running around the sidelines. He looks like a dang player. Like he could easily like put on pads and enter the game and no one would blink. No. That's cool. And players respond to him. I think that you saw that with him coaching a 49ers defense that had lost key players in the secondary and the linebacker crew and on the defensive line, everything, right? And he just by sheer force of will and pretty good scheming made that 49ers defense okay. Oh, it was okay. It could have been really, really awful. I think under another coordinator, that defense would have collapsed to the point of the Niners maybe not even making the postseason. He did that and it was a great job. I think that sort of coach has a chance to succeed here, but man, this is a dysfunctional Titans franchise.
Shanny, without Saleh, by the way, is thinking of fleeing to Mexico.
I know.
He's looking very powerfully into fleeing to Mexico. And we'll see how it goes for Kyle Shanahan. By the way, real quick, you want a take on the Tennessee Titans and also the Houston Texans? These franchises will never experience true success until they get like a real color scheme, like a real logo. The Titans, big part of having identity is having some sort of discernible, like I at least know what the colors are. I definitely know what the logo is.
Yeah.
I definitely know what this is supposed to be. This T and like a Titan, get it. Like franchise identity needs to be understandable, like right down to the logo. The Titans have like the single worst franchise aesthetic. Despite having decent colors, they never commit to one. They have like a truly awful.
Well, weren't they trying to kind of be the Oilers?
They were trying to like be the Oilers without being the Oilers. They should just be the Oilers. Change your name to the Tennessee Oilers. You still have the rights. Like I know there's no oil in Tennessee. Yeah, they do. Very controversially, actually, because everyone knows the Houston Texans should actually just revert to being the Oilers.
They should. They should be the Oilers.
The Texans, I have such a catastrophically bad aesthetic. Like it's barely even worth discussing how bad the Titans aesthetic is. Or excuse me, the Texans aesthetic.
Oh, it's so horrifying.
We're going to be red and also blue.
And a bull.
Yeah, and a bull that looks like an avant-garde, like it looks like a art piece left over at the 2002 Texas State Fair. They just put on their helmet.
We love our Houston Bulls, don't we?
Yeah, the Texans and Titans they'll never experience success until. Speaking of never experiencing success, there's nothing the Dolphins can actually do to experience success. They're doing the classic equal and opposite reaction to Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Out is the guy who likes to sit around designing cool plays. In is the guy and Jeff Hafley who is defensive minded, who is supposedly going to prioritize quote unquote physicality and toughness, as you posted on our website Tuesday morning. How much of a get is Jeff Hafley? Is he just a Micah Parsons merchant? I know he didn't have Micah Parsons in 2024 when he had a pretty well-regarded year for the Packers defense. He was pretty well-regarded at Boston College. My retort to that is, why wasn't he well-regarded at Miami then? Or like Florida State or VT? Like he was basically being praised for like, man, he made Boston College vaguely watchable before he left there. And this strikes me as a kind of a pitiful hire, to be honest. But a lot of people do not agree, actually. And
I don't know if I agree totally. So it's a backlash hire. It's saying
100%. Yeah,
we tried to do the geeky analytics nerd thing, and we didn't like how that worked out. And so we're now going to do the tough guy thing. And when you want to do that, you obviously hire a defensive coordinator, preferably from a cold weather city. And so you get a guy in Hafley, who I guess they're trying to just take pieces from the Packers and try to recreate. I mean, we're going to see headlines, Packers South, with.
By the way, did you see, not to cut you off in the middle, did you see, did you post this? Like Harbaugh is going to prioritize ex-Ravens for the Giants. First off, you didn't need to say anything. We already knew that. And secondly, I'm sure that'll work. Anyways.
I mean, and actually during his press conference, his introductory press conference, Harbaugh made it clear. He's like, I'm bringing the band back. We're getting back together, bro.
It's over.
It was a bad introductory press conference.
It's over. It's fine. It's fine. Not everything can still be going, but it's over.
Good.
It's fine. That's life. That's life.
You've already given up. That's funny. So, I mean, just looking at the stats here. So the Packers defense was 19th in success rate. So
you got to hire him.
Not good, not bad. They were a little better with Parsons, but not all that much better. I know it sounds weird, but it is true. So this is a backlash, and so now they're gonna, have probably heavy sets on offense. They're gonna prioritize defensive draft picks and free agency signings. They're gonna try to have a tough team, and we were talking before the show about the history of the Miami Dolphins trying to have a tough team, and the history is not good. It's not good, and it has to do, I think, with the Miami itself.
It's too pleasant. It's too pleasant.
It's stunning. The weather's nice. There's beaches everywhere. Yeah, these guys, they're not miserable enough to be tough and physical. And what was it? Physically dominant. What was it? He wants to be physical and what?
Physicality and toughness.
Toughness. He wants to be tough. No, you're not being tough. Jimmy Johnson tried this in the 90s. It did not work. Nick Saban tried it for 15 minutes. It didn't work. So this is another attempt. I will say, though, that the league is trending in this direction. It's a defensive era of football, whether we like it or not, and I don't.
It is. I will say, by the time you're hiring Jeff Hafley, it's probably already too late. You probably already missed the counter revolution. And
yes, that's actually a good point. So I think it makes sense in that way, but man, this is such a reactionary move by the Dolphins, by a reactionary owner.
It is, just a reactionary franchise. He's a tough kind of hire because he's not the kind of hire we as outsiders, not just fantasy football outsiders. I feel like any outsider is not qualified to evaluate this hire because he's being hired clearly for things that aren't necessarily public information or in the public domain. We have no idea how he navigates the players with the front office, and maybe he really is truly innovative. Maybe going back to the ACC and the NFC North, he's leaving a trail of admirers in his wake, because it's kind of how it felt like, where he's being promoted for head coaching jobs a while now. Mm-hmm. And maybe he just does things that aren't easily viewable by the public, because the things we can see, I just see this is the most underwhelming hire imaginable.
I know. I don't
understand what the thesis of this play is supposed to be.
I guess the owner was like, bring me the opposite of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah. Which right down to the haircut.
I know.
You got it. Yeah, you got the opposite.
Ooh, those sides are tight, brother.
They are. Boy, do you want to see a haunted visage Like Hafley stares like he's seen some stuff.
Oh, really?
Like, and like this guy's like prior lives, like this guy was at the Battle of Waterloo. He was at the Battle of Troy. Like this guy has cycled through some things in his reincarnations.
Yeah, well, good luck being tough in Miami.
I was at Stalingrad, man. In my previous life.
And yeah, Hafley's 46, so he's been through all that.
Wow. So yeah, like I don't know what the thesis of this play is supposed to be. We're gonna do a quick promo. Producer Adam, I'm gonna give you time to queue up the promo real quick. I'm gonna read the promo, and then we'll be right back after this. The countdown is on to the Winter Olympics in Milan. Don't miss watching the best athletes in the world compete for a chance to win gold. It all begins Friday, February 6th with the opening ceremonies only on NBC and Peacock. No joke, my kids are already excited asking about the Olympics. I think due in part to our excellent marketing campaign, a lot of Olympics commercials.
Yeah.
The folks around my house are very excited. I'm very excited. I'll be watching the entire fortnight beginning February 6th. I got to watch the Detroit Lions. No one gives me a choice there, and they have all the important fantasy players, Denny. There was a crisis last year, as we talked about on the show. John Morton didn't know how to score fantasy points. So Dan Campbell sacrificed to the real season to come in and call plays for the final half. Like, all right, we're going to give up the playoffs. We're going to score fantasy points, though, all right? That's what they did. He can't do that forever, though. They got to try to actually win again. Drew Petzing is in. I've seen, seriously, like a lot of like RIP the Lions posts on social media. Like, it's never been more over. Because, listen, I'm a writer. I'm a blogger. I get it. Drew Petzing, for one thing, doesn't scan as very physically impressive, all right? Like you see this guy, your immediate first reaction is it's never been more over. When you see Drew Petzing.
Right.
What I saw was Michael Wilson becoming Jerry Rice 2.0. What I saw was Trey McBride easily setting the single season tight ends receptions record. I think it's honestly a pretty good hire by the Detroit Lions. What do you think of Drew Petzing? I'm replacing John Morton, who was replacing Ben Johnson before him.
I mean, this is, I know this sounds funny, but like, I think you're right. The Petzing reaction is just because he doesn't look cool.
He does not look cool.
And
he was the first to tell you that.
Right.
What do you mean?
My response to that would be, who cares? 3 years as offensive coordinator for the Cardinals.
Hold on. Time out. He was the coordinator all 3 years. I'm out. I was hoping this guy was just like a 2025 job in Arizona.
Three years, yeah.
Never mind.
So 11. He over 3 years in offensive yards, 11th, and 19th. In points scored, he was 12th, 23rd, and 24th. Not good. Over those 3 seasons, the Cardinals were just overall 17th in the league in EPA per play, 17th in offensive success rate. They were top 10 in rush EPA.
It's actually pretty shocking considering.
I thought so too. I looking up those numbers, I was expecting worse, maybe much worse. And it says to me that, and our experience as fantasy folks observing the Cardinals offense and maybe benefiting from it in 2025, says to me that this guy hammers his good players. He does that weird thing where that a lot of modern offensive coordinators don't do, which is to do anything to get the ball into the hands of the difference makers. And that's what we saw with McBride. That's what we saw with Wilson.
Michael Wilson.
And that's why the ball was not going to Marvin Harrison Jr. Because I think he understood this guy is mid. So I expect this to be good for everybody in the Lions offense, including Jahmyr Gibbs. Petzing's thing is the run game. I mean,
they had a fairly sophisticated rushing attack where everything went sideways this year.
Yes. So I think we can throw out most of 2025 as far as rushing goes because they lost James Conner, then they lost Trey Benson, then they lost DeMarcado. Like you're down to Michael Carter and Bam Knight, right?
Zonovan to some of us.
Zonovan, depending on how formal you are. And I don't know if that's fair to be like, well, could Petzing make Zonovan Knight a legit NFL starting running back? So I'm throwing that out. I'm choosing to see this as a pretty good hire. And honestly, Pat, I trust Dan Campbell to not let this thing go completely sideways.
I do too. And all that was done with either an injured Kyler Murray, a disinterested Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett. Like, say what you will about Jared Goff. I've said many very mean things. I'm sorry, by the way, about Jared. I'm really sorry. I have some real low blows, especially earlier in your career. He's better than Kyler. He's better than Jacoby Brissett. And this does strike me like people were like, they got their hopes up. It was going to be a Mike McDaniel or something. That's not usually how these searches end. Like, this is a pretty good meat and potatoes hire by the Lions. One that does not shake my confidence in like the Lions money printing machine in fantasy football. I think this is a good outcome. Was Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City a good outcome? Not official, but the Chiefs were like Matt Nagy's like, maybe you guys want to wait to replace me until I at least get the Titans job for sure. Like, no, man, we're good. Like, yeah, we're so happy for you. You're gonna get this job. Like, we just gotta hire Eric Bieniemy real fast before you don't get it. So like Matt Nagy has been reportedly, not officially, replaced by old friend Eric Bieniemy back in Kansas City. Maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's luck. The second Bieniemy left, the Chiefs' offense began to disintegrate from at least from its previous heights. Disintegrate is very strong. They won a Super Bowl and went to another one. They were no longer fun, and I don't know. To me, it's concerning. Andy Reid cannot go outside his tree. He's at that stage of his career where, unless you've worked for Andy Reid in the past, you're not working for him now. But is Bieniemy an upgrade? Neither of these guys are going to call plays. Andy Reid calls the plays. Is Bieniemy, noted for his toughness, noted for like getting in the player's face, an upgrade on Matt Nagy? How do you feel about this switch for the Chiefs?
I think it's probably an upgrade. I mean, the Chiefs' offense has been boring for a while now, including the last year or two of Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator.
Maybe there's like Bieniemy though, like such a big, like bristly personality. Maybe they really just need a guy to come back and kind of like make them like hate each other again, like to do like spite production,
Yeah. I mean, I have a few things here.
You have actual takes instead of you just didn't follow that one anywhere.
No,
you just need to be more angry at each other again. Is where I was trying to go.
Oh, you mean like a band that needs conflict to make?
Yeah, they need tension. They need friction, and
yeah.
That's how you put out animals. That's how you put out the wall.
Right. Yeah, the wall for sure. This was
the wall overrated, by the way.
Well, man, wow. We don't have time for that. So the run game, I mentioned this on a pod with you and Kyle like a couple months ago. The Chiefs run game is so bad and predictable right now that even if they had a good running back, I actually don't think it could work as designed right now. And so Bieniemy was the running backs coach in Chicago, something I had forgotten about. And let me tell you how that running game compared to the Kansas City running game in 2025. So the Bears last year had the 6th best rate of rush yards before contact. They had the league's lowest rate of rushing stuffs, which means less than 3 yards, and then stuffed and not getting into the end zone within.
And it just means really well designed runs.
And the Chiefs ranked 25th last season in run blocking win rate per ESPN. They ranked 2nd in pass blocking win rate, so pretty good there, but the run blocking is what we're talking about. Only 3 teams had a lower rate of rush yards before contact than the Chiefs. Now, it's hard to separate the talent, the running back talent, from the offensive line's performance. I get that. You have Kareem Hunt, you have Isaiah Pacheco, neither of whom are really good. But I do think the Bieniemy can and should focus on installing a real run game here rather than what the Chiefs are doing, which the Chiefs are still basically operating as if it's 2019. And the league has changed pretty dramatically since then as far as defensive evolution goes in trying to stop guys like Mahomes himself. I mean, let's just be real. The league has changed to stop Mahomes. You got to figure out something else. The Chiefs have decided over the years, they're not going to try to figure something out. I think Bieniemy's job will be to do that.
I think that's a great take. Yeah, the Chiefs are still operating as if we're at peak. Running backs don't matter. Running backs have been made to matter in a big way again the past year. Just the very best teams are investing in running back. And Bieniemy too, I think it's great that U.S. hires all about the run game, because the passing game, that is still Andy Reid's purview. The run game has been his purview in the past too, but I think Andy, probably justifiably so, still thinks I've got the run game on lock despite the struggles of late. we cannot, whatever that quote unquote plan was in the backfield the past 2 years is not going to fly anymore. It was disastrous, totally disastrous.
The numbers basically spell out a run game, or give you a run game where if they're in shotgun on short yardage plays, they're going to run it. And then they never have a lead blocker. They rarely use heavy sets. And that's what I mean. Like, you look at the Rams and how they've changed over the years, how their offense has changed. The Chiefs have simply not done that. So they've got to get a run game. And this comes from someone in myself who has pushed back on that for years, that it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter that the Chiefs don't have a run game. Well, it turns out with defenses basically playing two safeties 25, 30 yards off the line of scrimmage and saying you're not doing any of that, it does matter. It does matter that you can't run the ball. Another
reactionary boomer take that I had first for you and Kyle that ended up right. Time will justify me in the end.
Yeah, you've been once again vindicated, I believe. Yeah.
So, real quick, rapid fire. Who's your favorite first-time head coach candidate? Do you like one of these like 30-year-olds, like Grant Udinski?
I like him. I like Jesse Minter.
I like Minter a lot. He's not young.
Yeah, Minter. I like that he comes from the Harbaugh tree. I've heard him interviewed a little bit here and there, and I don't know. He reminds me of like Mike McDaniels, like a really bright guy who I feel like he knows what he's good at. I know he understands his strengths and weaknesses, and he's not a guy who's going to come in and say, I'm running everything. Like, I feel like he can delegate, give the offense to a good offensive mind.
It is weird that like the first time head coaches aren't getting any attention because it's the strongest retread cycle, and retreads have been out really this whole decade. This is the first cycle where like the retread hires come roaring back.
Yeah.
And also, I think this because the obvious Shanny and McVay fruit had already been picked. So that's why you're down like guys like Grant Udinski or Nate Shieldhouse. So it's like under 30, maybe.
He's really 30, I think.
Yeah. But those are intriguing hires. One of them's going to get a job.
My gosh. We're on the precipice of someone born in the 2000s coaching a team.
It's a truly disturbing thought. Take us home with, did Mike McCarthy do nothing wrong?
Nothing wrong.
Talking to the Steelers.
Nothing wrong. Hire him. Him. For fantasy, you got to separate the reality from the fantasy. It's not going to work for real football, and I don't care. But hire this man to run the Steelers, make them pass heavy. He is he listen, no matter what he says, and listen, if he's hired by the Steelers, his hometown team, he's going to talk all offseason about we were going to establish it.
Only thing he's going to talk about.
We're going to run the ball no matter what. I can tell you one thing Mike McCarthy's never done. He's never run the ball, and that's great. I like that.
He doesn't care about that at all. We don't either. We care a lot about the AFC and NFC championship games, which we will break down thoroughly on Thursdays. Kyle Dvorak joins us. We'll break down what is sure to be another head coaching hire or two, maybe a coordinator hire or two. A really busy time in the NFL right now. So for Denny Carter, I'm Patrick Daugherty. We hope we helped enlighten you today, and we hope that you will rejoin us on Thursday.